Hey KU fans, welcome to another episode of KU Sports Extra inside the Kansas locker room here at Sprint Center. A very disappointed, heartbroken, sad Kansas locker room. Jayhawks season ends tonight in the Elite Eight for the second year in a row, 74-60 at the hands of third-seeded Oregon here at the Sprint Center. Your first thoughts, Tom Keegan, about these Jayhawks and the end of a really, really good season?
Yeah, it was a very entertaining season. I mean, this team was a blast to watch. They averaged 96 points a game the first three. Devontae Graham just on fire for those first three games in the tournament. Graham came up empty tonight, 0 for 7 overall, 0 for 6 from 3. Josh Jackson, second foul, a phantom foul, changed the first half. It really did. I mean, and he scored 10 points and had 10 rebounds in the second half, so that tells you what kind of an impact maybe he could have had. But Oregon did outscore Kansas in the second half, so credit to Oregon, whose matchup zone Kansas never figured out.
It was evident early that this was going to be a dogfight. Oregon on fire. I mean, 60% in the first half, shot the ball really well, shot with confidence, shot without fear, shot without hesitation. They weren't scared of the moment. They weren't scared of the crowd.
And the best player on the floor was not a shooter in the first half for Oregon. Jordan Bell, in both halves he was great.
Yeah.
He's a shot blocker. He almost had a triple-double with points, rebounds, and block shots.
8 blocks.
8 blocks and then 10 points, 11 rebounds.
4 assists, too.
Yeah.
You know, just in case.
Right.
Just in case anyone was keeping track of that. And, yeah, he really frustrated KU, and especially Mason, and especially when they would drive to the rim. KU got a couple of moments where things looked good. Driving to the rim, Svi broke through a couple of times.
He had
Mason
one great drive.
Yeah, he really did. And it looked like that was going to be sort of a turning point. But every time Kansas would turn the corner and get a moment where it looked like they were going to steal some momentum and get the crowd going,
couldn't get a stop.
Tyler Dorsey would bury a shot and self-pointed it out after the game. A lot of them were late in the shot clock. I thought Kansas's defense was good enough in the second half to give them a chance, but they couldn't make any shots. 1 for 15 from three-point range in the second half. That one shot was huge. It cut it to 6 with 2:50 to play, and you really thought, or at least I did, oh my gosh, they're going to do it again.
And then Jackson Mason both go up for the rebound, and Jackson didn't know Mason was right behind him and tipped it.
They just miscommunicated.
Yeah, it just no way of knowing it.
Yeah.
Just a tough break.
Lots of moments like that. There were balls bouncing off KU players' hands, between their legs, couldn't gather a dribble. A couple times they looked like they had a steal, and then they'd fumble it or lose track of it somehow, and it would end up in Oregon's hands. Just one of those nights. I mean, there are many, many reasons, and you can look at a lot of things on the stat sheet to
5
point
of
to
25 from 3.
I know I asked a lot of these guys in here tonight that if they were shocked, as well as they shot the ball all year, as much as they were balanced, it wasn't just one or two guys. They spread it out all year with the ability to knock down that outside shot. Were they shocked that it happened that way tonight? They said, yeah, and it hurt a lot. I was shocked. I mean, I thought this team was built to withstand an off night from a guy or two. It just didn't happen tonight.
And Graham gave credit, which was classy of him, gave credit to the Oregon matchup zone.
Yeah.
Said that they just did a great job of passing us off, is the way he put it, from one guy to the next. And he said, and we never would lose them. We couldn't lose them. There was always a duck there. And a well-played matchup zone creates the illusion that you're going against 7 defenders instead of 5.
Right.
The lowest scoring output of the season for Kansas, and it looked like it.
Yeah, it definitely did. Well, that's the end for Frank Mason. A very sad ending. You don't get
15
involved.
Points in a row there for Kansas at the end of the first half.
Yeah, very cool. And you don't get involved in these types of things, but it's hard not to root for this guy, and it's hard not to feel bad for him. That's not the way that Frank Mason should have gone out. That's not just. I felt the same way last year. That's not the way Perry Ellis should have gone out. It was a sad ending for him. Landon Lucas is done too. A very sad ending for a guy that gave everything he had to this program. You got to think Josh Jackson's gone. He talked about it, and he said he hadn't thought about it. He's going to continue to talk with his family. All the same answers you hear every year when these things happen.
Yeah, and Kansas the athletic department will probably have some dramatic video or announcement to try to generate interest as if it's news. It's not news.
Right.
Josh Jackson is going to the NBA because he's not a fool.
And because he's absolutely ready to play there.
Yeah.
And he gets 6 fouls there, so 2 in 3 minutes wouldn't be that big a deal. There's some questions elsewhere. Devontae Graham, Svi, Carlton Bragg even. I mean, those guys have some things to kind of think about at the very least, and all of them said in here tonight that, you know, they're not thinking about it right now. They will in the coming days and weeks, but right now they're just heartbroken, disappointed, sad, all those things we talked about at the top of this. It's the nature of the beast. That's what happens in this tournament. And Kansas,
67 teams go home
yeah,
sad.
Right. Yeah, Kansas was definitely good enough to win it all this year, and they were, at least it looked like, on a path to maybe doing that. And then it just takes that one bad night. This was it in just about every way you could imagine. I mean, they just shot horribly. Their offense was out of sync all night. You mentioned why. Any final thoughts here from inside the locker room? I think this was Jackson's chair. I think Graham was right there. I don't know where you are. Tom Keegan's chair.
Highly entertaining team that played really hard, and time will remember them very fondly, especially Frank Mason.
Very well said. I agree completely. That's all for KU Sports Extra from the Sprint Center. We'll have all kinds of reaction in the week ahead, and you know, we'll keep doing these as well. It won't be as fun because it won't be after games for a little while, but we got spring football coming up. We got all kinds of stuff still, so be sure to check with KUsports.com throughout the offseason, because really there is no offseason at KUsports.com. Thanks for checking out this episode of KU Sports Extra, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.